The power of color. Color is so important to invoke certain feelings, memories, associations. We all know warm colors like red, yellow, orange evoke higher arousal emotions such as love, passion, happiness, and anger. Cool colors, on the other hand, like blue, green, purple, are linked to calmness, sadness, and indifference. Colors can trigger all sorts of states, emotional states, and memories. So it's not by accident that companies spend tens of thousands of dollars developing their color palettes, and maybe even millions of dollars marketing that color for their brand. We see color all around us when we leave our homes, when we're on our devices, when we're watching television, that relate to different brands. But what many people don't know is that the color that is associated with that brand and part of that design is legally protected through trademark. I know you may be asking, how can anyone trademark a color? How can anyone lock in a color and foreclose anyone else from using it? Well, the law says it can, because that is part of that company's brand identity. It's a thing, I promise you it's a thing. And it's an important thing for businesses, which is why so many companies spend so much money creating their color for their brand identity. And then the marketing of that color. They have behavioral psychologists and therapists in the room to pick their color. I promise you that. But before we get into the particulars and discuss more about trademarking colors, this is the legal code. And on this channel, we discuss a wide range of legal topics, whether that's for your small business or legal lessons we learn in the media or even from a Netflix series. We discuss it here. If you find value in that sort of things, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And for my continuing viewers who keep coming back, I thank you. Also, if you would like some legal coaching and you would like the opportunity to work with me to go over your legal plan and your strategy for your business, there is a link in the description box. We will troubleshoot areas that you are dealing with or struggling with. We'll come up with a plan for next steps, break it down into small steps so that you're not overwhelmed, because I know starting a business is overwhelming and you don't know where to begin or where to move forward. So we'll break it down into doable steps, and I assure you, you will leave the meeting feeling assured, confident, and relaxed about what you need to do next. Also, I have some merch to share with all of you, which I'm really excited about. So I have a couple of new items. So if you would like to purchase that, that is also in the description box. So just a brief overview before we get into trademarking a color. So under trademark law, a person can trademark, as you know, any word, name, design, device, or combination thereof that is used to identify and distinguish one's goods or services from the goods or services of other companies. So in layman's term, it's your design that distinguishes you from other goods or services. So like Target is not going to have the same logo as Walmart. They both have distinguishing marks as retailers, and they both have trademarks on their design logos. But you notice that I did not mention color in the definition. So, and if you look up color trademark, you won't find it in this trademark statute. There's no mention of it. That is because traditionally and previously, color was barred from obtaining trademark protection. But in 1985, the tides changed and companies were allowed to trademark their color along with their design. So it's only since 1985 that singular colors or color combinations have been trademarked as part of their product, their package, or their service. Just like any other trademark, as long as they satisfy the trademark requirements, which you all know, which is to serve as a function of identifying the company, and two, do not merely stand for a decorative or a utilitarian purpose. So that's the criteria. So in order to be trademarkable, the color needs to help the public recognize the brand from other companies. If there's no response with consumers being able to recognize the brand because of this color, it will not be trademarkable. There has to be brand association built into the color. You can't just decide to Like Target can't just all of a sudden to decide to trademark leopard print because there's no recognizable link to Target. So here are some examples of predictable color marks that all of us have seen in our daily lives. We have the famous and beautiful red sole Christian Louboutin high heel shoes that all of us know and are familiar with. He's always in litigation, so his company is very famous for that. Also, we have the red knobs for the cooking appliances of the Wolf Appliance Company, which sells high-end kitchen appliances. And of course, the Tiffany blue jewelry box. Tiffany had turned its distinctive shade into an international icon of elegance and sophistication. Anyone sees a Tiffany blue box, they think luxury and expense. Even the UPS brown, which many of us have come to see during the pandemic, the delivery trucks and the uniforms are both trademarked, that brown and that yellow. Magenta for T-Mobile, that pink color for the writing of T-Mobile is trademarked. And most recently, we will discuss this later, it's not trademarked yet, but the Valentino pink that was debuted a few days ago, it's probably in the works to be trademarked, which I will explain later. So all of these are examples of trademark colors, with the exception of the Valentino pink. Any other brand, a competitive brand, dares to use the same color, they risk being sued for trademark infringement. But it was not always possible to trademark color. This is a relatively new legal protection, and businesses are doubling down and making sure they can protect every aspect of their brand identity now that it is available to them. How color trademark began is so underwhelming, and I was really surprised at this as well. It's such an underwhelming story. So take a look at this. Nothing fabulous, right? Somehow, trademark has become synonymous with luxury and expense. But that, my dear viewers, is a piece of fiberglass insulation, the stuff that goes behind your walls, from a company called Owens Corning. Yep, so here's the story. In the late 1950s, Owens Corning was facing steep competition from other fiberglass insulation companies. At the time, products were the same color, this naturally tan color. I'm sure all of you have seen it on construction sites. So to distinguish itself, Owens decided to dye or infuse its fiberglass with pink to identify its product. And so for the next 30 years, the company used this unique pink insulation as a marketing tool. And then it adopted a slogan around it, like think pink, or the Pink Panther was the mascot. So Owens spent tens of millions of dollars advertising the color and developed a brand identity with the pink. Then in 1985, they moved to court, and after a 5-year legal battle, Owens Corning became the first company in American history to successfully trademark a color. So like I see, it was an underwhelming story, nothing luxurious that happened in order to allow brands to be able to trademark their color. However, color marks do require proof of secondary meaning. So in addition to the original criteria that applies to all trademarks, which again requires that a color have a connection with a particular good or service, color can be trademarked in connection with a particular good or service if through the use of the color over time there develops an association with that particular brand. The public would come to associate that color with that particular company. This is key. So brands can't just tomorrow immediately trademark a color that has never been associated with their brand. They have to track their use of their color for a period of time with their brand identity, coupled with their brand identity, develop a reputation in connection with that color, and then they can apply for a trademark of that color, which is what Valentino, I imagine, is doing. It will, for time immemorial, be remembered for this hot pink runway show. This was the debut to gain public attention and association, and now they can apply for the trademark. It's very clever. It's interesting to see this play out in live. I just did a video about trademark particulars, so don't forget to check that out as well. So companies have to be very deliberate when they're launching their brand and the colors that they use, because it doesn't always work out the way it did for Owens Corning to get the trademark. So let's look at General Mills, the company that makes famous American cereals, which was denied trademark protection for the yellow color of its Cheerios cereal boxes, which it has used since 1945. They were denied trademark even after 60 years of being in business because certain colors or color combination were already widely used with respect to that good. So because the colors were already widely used, it was difficult to establish a secondary meaning because they didn't develop a customer recognition through seeing that yellow box. So they were foreclosed from being able to trademark that color. So let's look again at this Valentino pink that has been flooding people's social media pages. The actual color name is Valentino Pink PP, which was created by the Pantone group. Pantone is increasingly creating colors for different brands and houses, and their business is just developing exclusive colors for brand identity. They develop Tiffany's, I believe they develop UPS. They have developed so many famous colors. Tiffany's, UPS, the magenta for T-Mobile, Brady blue. Yeah, what is it? Tom Brady, he has his own blue that was developed by Pantone. Countless companies turn to Pantone. They lead the industry in creating iconic colors. Color alone can meet the basic legal requirement for use as a trademark because it can act as a symbol that distinguishes a brand's goods and identifies their source without serving any significant function. Here we use the pink specified to Valentino in his fall-winter 2022 collection, and it purely serves to distinguish it from any other brand. People know this to be the Valentino show. His whole design will not collapse if it were not for this color pink. Therefore, it will likely be trademarkable. Valentino has not moved yet for the trademark. I've checked as of yesterday, but I imagine that his legal team is working on the paperwork and it will be done in the near future because it has established a reputation and association with this stellar pink color. Remember, if you want to trademark a color, the trademark simply allows a company to use a particular combination and shade of color in its own industry. Other industries can use the color in another industry, and it's perfectly fine because they're not competing with that brand. So if I don't know, dental floss company wants to come out with dental floss that's the same pink as Valentino's, it may be permissible because they're not competing in the same area. Let's look at Target. He uses a similar color red to Coca-Cola. But Coca-Cola can't sue Target for using the similar red because they are not selling competing products. One is a retailer and the other manufactures drinks. So they will never compete in the same fields. Makes sense, right? But if you try to open a store with a similar red, be prepared to be shut down by the Target machine. When a color becomes synonymous with the brand, the companies will do all they can to protect anything that is integral to their brand identity. And color is integral to many brands because when we see the color, our brains make an association. And they don't want the association to happen with competing brands and competing companies, which is why companies take this very seriously. So as you can see, color is a very important aspect of brand development and brand identity, and companies take this very seriously. And as people develop their brand, there's a lot of back and forth with creative designers. They spend tens of thousands of dollars. They have to check so many things when they're developing their color. It's a very important part in advertisement. It's very fascinating as well. So if you have any questions, please don't forget to drop that in the comment section. If you think color should not be trademarked and that people should be able to use whatever color, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.